Hiya, Kim. Welcome back. Welcome back to Face. Mama Investor.
Hello.
How are you, Kim?
I'm good. Trying to get my video started.
Oh, we have a little audio. Sounds like you have a
Can you hear
frog in
me?
your throat.
Oh, really?
And now better.
Is that better? Because I can take it
Yeah.
off my headphones.
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay. It won't let me start my video on my end.
Oh,
It says unable to start.
Let me.
Do you want me to try to make an adjustment here, Dale?
Yeah.
Let me see. It says you're already a panelist.
When I try to start it, it says I can't start my video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, here, let me start the video and then I'll stop it. There you go, and see if you can do it now.
No.
Still no,
says,
huh?
Yeah, it says unable to start because the host has stopped it.
That Dale,
Steve is the host now, so he's gonna fix it. Maybe it should always stay open for the guests. So, share a screen, etc.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for now, maybe you can pull up your charts and we'll see if he makes that adjustment.
All right, Kim, and I'll go off camera, so we'll be kind of talking heads without the heads.
I got ready this morning too at 4. I was up at 4 a.m. because I'm on the west coast.
Yeah, that's when I get up too, and but I shaved the night before.
I got up in the shower.
Yeah, I wish we could. I'm sure Steve's working on it. In the
No
meantime,
problem.
It should work now.
Try it now, Kim.
Yep, there we go.
Oh God, it was worth all the time you put into it. I really, really appreciate it. You look like,
she's much better. She's much easier on the eyes than you are, Dale, for crying out loud.
I hope so, Blake. I'd have to leave the company if you answered differently. So anyway, great to have you back, Kim. How are things been going?
To it. I can't believe it's been 3 months and we went through the summer and now we're in Q4 and, market's back.
Trees are turning. I went down your stream and, I see, you have that appreciation for beauty and nature is beauty. So let's talk about some ugly things like trading.
Yes.
Okay. So, there's a lot in the background going on geopolitically. Powell's going to speak today. We've had this pullback from 4,600 to 42. We're kind of mid-range of that. Where's your head at? What's your take on what's going on here? How are you positioning yourself in this market?
I mean, I do delta hedging essentially in my portfolio, meaning that, I'm always long stocks, as we talked about last time I was on. And at the same time, then I can put short futures on or covered calls on, or use different strategies to kind of bring my deltas down so I'm not as exposed if the market's going down. So this is probably the lowest delta in my portfolio I've had in a long time. I'm not net short, I'm still net long. But I feel like with the yields are trading like meme stocks. I mean, this is like GameStop or something, and I can't imagine that someone who's trying to short it or thinks that yields have, gone as high as they could, that they're not going to get at some point, margin called or, and then, bonds. I was reading that this is the widest gap in, I don't know how many years, like 30 or 40 years ever between equities and bonds. I actually took a position long TLT recently, thinking at some point I'm not going to catch the bottom, but I'm sure when bonds catch a bid, there's going to be a huge snapback. So it was just a small position I took just to basically see where we're moving. But at some point, those jaws have to close.
Yeah, I mean, the mean reversion is it's called disintermediation. Do you remember 87?
I was.
Were you in nursery school then or something?
No, not exactly nursery school.
Okay.
You know?
But we had yields rising sharply,
Mhm.
although at that time the dollar was falling, and the market kept going up and resisting the move in rates. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that sounds like today.
Yeah, except
Except the dollar's going up.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people think peaking or getting close to a peak. So the TLT is definitely a contrarian position. So knowing that you hedge a lot of things you do, did you buy TLT and sell calls against it, or
Yeah,
buy
I did.
puts for protection?
Yeah, so I didn't buy puts, like I didn't do the hedge wrapper that we talked about last time.
Okay.
But I did sell covered calls at the 87 strike on it. I was a little, like 2 weeks ago, it kind of moved up. So my calls were underwater, and now they're obviously coming back to me. So I was like, oh, maybe that was not the best move. But I mean, that's the nice
Good.
thing, that I can be selling covered calls against it. The premium's not bad. I don't know what I should look at right now what the IV is on it. The IV is really high. The IV rank is 71 compared to its historical volatility. And I think, even like if you're a consumer like me or a retail investor, right? With rates going this high, just for someone like me, if I wanted to move, if I want to, do home improvements and refinance my home,
Everything.
you're frozen or paralyzed. And businesses that need to invest and raise capital, they're paralyzed. And so it freezes, I think, a lot of the market to make reinvestments or to home improvements. I do my first mortgage though was 7.5%.
Yeah. So it's recency bias, what we're used to, and the adjustment of getting used to this. I found interesting in your stream, you caught that gold and silver pop that we had last week, and the vehicle of choice for you, and you say you love them, are micro lots. And I think people don't take advantage of micro lots as much as they should, because they figure, oh, that's just for, shortstops and little guys, and how can I make money in a micro lot? Why don't you explain why you say it's one of your favorite instruments to use, micro lots?
Well, the reason why I like micro lots, I mean, people that day trade and are scalping 10 points here and there on the, NQ, I mean, that might be a great strategy for them. They can put 5 NQs on, and they're just looking to get 10 points. I'm looking to swing trade. I'm looking to take a position and going short NQ, which I am right now. And so if the trade goes against me, I can scale into that trade.
Got it.
And also, I explained before that my husband was a former futures trader on the S&P. And one morning I woke up to many short NQs on a given account, and I like to sleep at night. And so, I mean, it's just like, it's peace of mind. It's more strategy versus that I'm looking to gain, make this, 2,000 gain on something. It's the small gains that add up. And I look at it often as just hedging or going contrarian. So when, unfortunately, the war started between Israel and Palestine, I bought the metals right away, thinking that would be a safe haven, and that oftentimes commodities go up. And so I used the gold and silver futures, and I started with the micros, and then I just started adding. Or if you see something break out, you can add.
What I find interesting is the 2020 version of the woman looking after the house, which I'm not being a misogynist, but you apply a different definition to housekeeping by waking up and seeing your husband short too many NQs. All right. All right.
Ten-
So I mean,
and
that's
he
a
was just
new,
he was to scale them
that's,
in.
yeah, that's modern day, taking care of your husband.
I mean, the thing is, like, different people have different risk tolerances, right?
Yeah.
Actually, he was right.
Yeah.
And, it took a day or two. He's usually early. And his
Yeah.
assessment was right. I mean, when as you know, when you're a floor trader, you've traded a long time, you get a feel for the market. It's like a
Right.
living, breathing organism, essentially. And so you start to feel these gyrations in the market. And, he's really good at kind of seeing things starting to top out or starting to bottom out. It's not that he's going to top ticket. I'm fairly, I'm pattern oriented, so I can tend to see patterns. I used to teach statistics, so I see how things. I still teach, but I don't like teaching statistics because students don't like it.
Oh,
But
there's a song by Van Morrison that I want you to play today called "Why Do I Always Have to Explain?" And I dedicate that to all teachers, mentors, everybody. I wanted to ask you about your view on the patterns that we have working, and could this week's sell-off in the AI darling Nvidia be a bad sign for the market? Because so far the market's been kind of absorbing that. It looks like a head and shoulders top to me. I identified it up there at the right shoulder. Is that a bearish looking chart to you? Do you follow Nvidia?
Yeah, I do follow Nvidia. Mark was, when it was $100 or 110, he's like, buy Nvidia now. And we only bought a small position. That's when everything was kind of, cracking.
June.
No, a year.
Oh, okay.
Last year, last like October.
Okay.
We have a lot of friends in the tech because we're in Seattle. And so we have a lot of friends over at the different tech companies, and we were hearing rumblings, or he was hearing rumblings about this Chat GPT. And so Nvidia being, with their chips. But yeah, I think, the thing is, when these crazes happen, like in the .com bubble, because I do remember the .com bubble, when these crazes happen, these stocks just go parabolic. So I think for me, when you see a chart going straight like this, I mean, there's nothing, I don't even know that I need to look at ahead and, Mark would be looking at his head and shoulders. I would be going, that doesn't look like it's okay. I mean, you see something rise 400%, and not that their sales haven't been great, not that they don't have future sales, but the market can only withstand that for so long in most cases. And then Tesla, I mean, that'll be interesting to see whether the market absorbs, Elon Musk. I didn't listen to the call, but I've been reading about it, speaking about how high interest rates are hurting the business, and he needs to continue lowering car prices, and the Cybertruck, he didn't delay it, but from what I read, it's just that, maybe it's not going to be selling as many because they can't produce them as quickly or something.
Yeah, Tesla doesn't look like it was participating on up days anyway. It has 2 lower highs in there, and it's a cult stock, and I was thinking maybe 210. And remember last time you were on, I was underwater in Apple.
Yes.
That's no longer the case. Do you like or own any of the Magnificent Seven?
All of them except for Facebook. I will not buy Facebook.
I
bought that. We bought that pre-IPO and then sold it years ago. I own, I'm looking up at my screen right now. I own Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. What's the other Magnificent Seven? Netflix?
Yeah, I think, and they had good numbers, so they're going to be up today.
They did. They're up like, what, 13 or 14%.
Yeah.
But,
so you guys are good holders too. I mean, that's a very unusual combination, that people that are traders have a difficult time being holders of assets, because they won't, they'll see something on the chart. Well, I could take it here because I know it's going to get cheaper. I'll recommit. And then you turn your head and you've gotten out, and then it goes without you. So how are you guys able to maintain those two different mentalities? You have different accounts, so that this is your long-term account, this is your swing trade account. Do you do it that way, Kim?
Yeah, we do have different accounts, but in the one of the accounts that I only trade one account.
Okay.
But that's where I do have a bulk of Apple, Google, Microsoft, because I like to sell covered calls against it, or
Okay.
possibly do hedge
Yeah.
wrappers, where you're selling a call, buying a put, what I discussed last time. And so right now, selling covered calls has been like the money trade, and it's a conservative strategy, obviously. Have I ever turned over my stock? Yes. And then I sell a put against it. Usually what I do, though, is I try to keep rolling that covered call for a credit.
Okay.
And so I roll it forward to I do these like every 30 days to 45 days. And then if they start going underwater, I'll roll them out and I roll them for a credit. So it's not that often that I turn over my stock, because it usually mean reverts, right? Unless we get in a parabolic move like we did with Amazon bouncing off the bottom. I kind of thought, like, once we bounced from 85 up to 110, I was like, that's a big move. I'm going to start selling covered calls. And I did turn some of I could have rolled it out, but I was like, forget it. And I just couldn't get a good enough credit. So I just sold puts against it. Sold cash secured puts. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, you're very well versed in options trading and strategies, and against stocks, and just using them for outright kind of positions. I believe you give a lot of credit to some gentleman who is with Tastytrade that's helped you move along, and help you grow and see things in the options market that you may not have found out on your own. I think it's great that you give others credit for your growth.
Thank you. I love to find genuine, real, honest people. And the Tastytrade group is, they were former floor traders. Yeah. They're not charging exorbitant fees, and you can learn their tools for free. I also like black box stocks for options flow. And then I also use Bar Chart. Bar Chart has, great options information. And those are people that I've come to know that I trust, right? Because there's a lot of people in this business that, I don't know if they're in the business, but they're trading and, doing zero DTEs. And I'm not saying like ever doing a zero DTE is a bad thing. It's just, that's not my style. I like to be able to think about what I'm doing and be able to assess it. And if we're doing zero DTEs, I would just be panicking out of it, because that's just my, in the moment. That's why I like swing trading the micro futures also. Sometimes, I shorted RTY 2 weeks ago, the micros, and I was looking for 50 points. So I was looking for it to come back down to the low 1700s. That came back to me in a day. So I wasn't expecting a 50-point move. I think it was last week, it came down 50 points. So I wasn't looking for that 50-point move in a day. And when it came back to me, when it came, it was basically a day trade.
Yeah. You weren't planning it, but you still got your target. So the target is more important than how long it takes to achieve it. Yes. Of course, right?
I've rolled my futures for quite a few quarters before.
What's wrong with immediate gratification, Kim? Once in a while. Why do we don't have to sweat everything out? It's nice when it happens like that.
And also, I think you have to be, if you're going to swing trade, you have to be able to hold those trades overnight, right? Yeah. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. You have to be able to hold those trades overnight, because, the futures are cash coming out of your account.
Right.
If it's underwater, right? Sometimes what I'll do is if I'm underwater on a long or on a short, for example, then I'll go long another future, like temporarily to offset it. So and you can buy futures options as well. So
Right.
I'm not saying this is a good strategy, but I have what I call Black Swan Puts on the ES.
Oh yeah. And what
So-
are they? What are Black Swan puts, if, for example, in the ES?
So I'll go 60 days out, and I just count it as the cost of doing business, right? I'm not paying a money
Like
manager.
insurance. Yeah, insurance.
Exactly. And I'll buy, like right now, I have ES 3,400 December 29th. So I go
This
to
December 23
Yeah.
or 25? Yeah.
no, that's December.
Yeah.
The cost for me was $1,200, are actually up right now. if you can believe it.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not looking for it to get there, but if we had a big move down, there's some protection. I'm not going crazy buying a ton of them. I'm just buying a few. If there's some big down move, right? Because I mean, there's just a lot of things in the market right now. I'm not calling for a crash. I don't even know if our system, with all the, the trigger stops, if the market fell
Yeah.
7%. I don't even know if we could have a 25% down day anymore.
I don't either.
But the thing is, if vol increases, options futures don't have beta decay. So if the vol increases like exorbitantly, those can become worth, not your max profit. That's not what I would be looking for, but definitely as something that brings down my delta and as another means by which to hedge.
Yeah, I
And
think
I
it's
just
a
add
very
those
smart.
and forget it.
Yeah, because most people would say what you're doing is just a waste of money, when what
Yeah.
it gives you is peace of mind. I will
Yeah.
pay for peace of mind. People do it. They put security systems on their home. They might have a floor safe. What's wrong with looking at being hedged for the outlier? Because they happen sometimes.
I did that when the Ukraine-Russia war. I don't like to, say I'm
Yeah.
making money off of something, but I had actually had them on before that. And then I added a couple more, and those ended up, I think quadrupling at that point, right? And so I pulled several off, and took the profit. So they have paid. And hey, if you're paying 1% of your portfolio for a money manager or whatever it is,
Great point.
to count that as my percentage a year. So I keep that in my head. Like, what percentage would I be paying a money manager if I'm managing it myself? Then I can afford essentially to have those. I have some put spreads on right now, also on SPY. So last week when SPY went down, I'd only bought, I just had a few, and then I rolled them, and I buy them near the money, so I don't go that far out of the money, and I usually do about 60 to 90 days, and I know there's a lot of premium in those, but those have worked for me, and then I rolled them, and I added a long leg to them, so I took some profit, and at that time I leg.
You know what? You're not a trader, Kim. You're a dancer. Your style of trading is like a dance, where you roll from position and spin around and all kinds of graceful moves on the dance floor. That's what I started thinking of when I just heard you talking about what you do. It's your trading is like a dance, Kim. And really, go ahead.
I posted a picture a while back on my Twitter, because I have the Italian flag in my profile, and that's in honor of my Italian grandfather. And the picture I posted was of him, 85 years old, dancing on the dance floor, and him and I on our last dance before he died.
Oh, wow.
So
But anyway, has anyone ever described it to you that way, that your style of trading is like a dance? Because you know how.
To dance.
All right. Kim, I'm so glad that,
I like being creative, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I get,
And
so I like doing different things and seeing how different things work. I'm never like, I'm always conservative, you know, like I'm not adding 50 spy
yeah.
puts on. Though during COVID I did. I
Yeah.
will say I had puts on everything during COVID, everything. And I mean, that paid off.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed our conversation today. I think that
Thank you so much for having me.
people can learn from you, Kim, and follow you on Twitter at Mama Investor. Anywhere else they could go to keep an eye on, you know, whether you're doing, you know, the jitterbug or the funky chicken. Huh?
The only social media that I keep on is Twitter.
Okay.
I'm like too busy to keep up. I used to have Facebook. I don't
Yeah.
forget.
Well,
And I love the Twitter community. I love the trading community on Twitter. It's just like, it feels like a sense of belongingness. And it's one of my favorite, you know, my connection in the day to the trading community.
all right. Well, I'm so glad that our paths crossed, Kim, and wish you and your you're the better half, your husband, a great fall trading season. And let's get back together in the winter and see you know, what kind of moves you're making then.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Enjoyed
It's
it,
been
Kim.
a pleasure.
I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it. Everyone, follow
Thank you.
Kim. Yes, at Mama Investor. And have a great weekend. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So that's a wrap, everyone. I hope you enjoyed Kim. I enjoyed her. And you could join the team in 15 minutes on the Morning Edge. And adios.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Forex Analytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.